Do it with a little music. Which helps with the sincerity factor. Please join me. Namo Da Fang Guang Po Wan Yin Huayan Hai Wei Po Pu Sa. Namo Da Fang Guang Po Wan Yin Huayan Hai Wei Po Pu Sa. Namo Da Fang Guang Po Go. And there we are. The Chochenyo Ohlone people practice their spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. And today, we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And could we drop the screen down just a little further? And all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. Okay. I can imagine our tech rep going, never satisfied, you're never happy. 九千有欧罗尼的人在他们的祖先的土地上修炼着他们和土地和万物的精神联系已有数万年。今天我们承认他们是这些土地的传统监护人和原始讲故事的人，并且向他们过去、现在和新兴的长老们表示敬意，以及主权从未被割让的所有第一民族人民们表示敬意。This acknowledgement of country is really profound, and I hope folks pay attention because I think it's a very elegant way to put ourselves in the right relationship with the humans who have gone before, to realize that we're just the next group. We may be the last group, but that's a conversation for another time. I was going to show how profoundly this relatively new custom has penetrated Australian society. I went to visit the Australian Museum. I was looking for information on spiders, actually. I was writing about my experience in Australia. And simply going to the website of the Australian National Museum, no matter what business you have with them, the first screen that comes up is acknowledgement of country. And that's really profound. The Australian people, led by their current Prime Minister, are trying hard to make it right for the behavior of the people who came later on the people who came first. So for us to be able to do this here is elegant and proper. Here we go. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. Now, how many of you were here when Master Guangchen invited Master Fa Ming to chant the Chinese version of the bell song that goes, the text of it goes, 众生传三千界内，佛法养万亿国中，共宣启法界和平，利益报他那厚德. And I've said, oh no, I'm not going to try to sing it the way the Chinese sing it, the traditional way. And people went, well, why not? And then when we heard the way it's done, oh my goodness. Give you a flavor of it if you weren't here. This was, I think, 4 weeks ago. Here we go. This is the sound of the Master Fa Ming was standing right here, and the bell was the original bell song. I can do one character. There we go. Zhou. So that is Zhuangyan. That's really adorned. That's the classical way to do it. And it takes a long time to do it. But when you're done, you feel transformed. That music has a purpose. And it's very yang. It's very pure in that there's no emotion in it, but there's beautiful human sounds. That's a human sound. Chinese Buddhist religious music. So that's why I don't do it. The bell sound wide resounds. That's the Western. About 100 million worlds. Difference in culture, each with its own idea of beauty. Good indeed. All right, welcome everybody. And we're looking into the prelude to the Buddha's teaching on the pilgrimage of a young man who travels in search of the Dharma, and he succeeds. He makes it. He gets there. He gets all the way to Buddhahood in a single lifetime. It takes him 12 years. And we follow him every step. And he goes to ask 53 teachers for their instructions. And they give him a little test. They ask him, have you made the Bodhi resolve? And he says, yes, I have. And they say, okay, good, well, I'll teach you now. And very funny. Our own much beloved novice monk, Chinyang, who is here, has just taken the complete traditional formal left home bodhisattva precepts, Pusa, Chujia Pusa Jie. And in the ceremony, there is a time, it's kind of the climax of all of the questions and all the examinations. And as the presiding master, we say, "Are you a bodhisattva?" And his answer is, "Yes, I am a bodhisattva," he says. And all of the bhikshunis who were on the platform, groups of three by three, "Are you bodhisattvas?" "Yes, we are bodhisattvas," is the answer. 你是菩萨跑，是菩萨. And so ever since then, when Jin Wei Shi sees Qin Liang, he says, "Are you a bodhisattva?" Qin Liang Shi, "Yes, I am a bodhisattva." You know, it's like, rah, one more bodhisattva. Mara's palace in the heavens of the demons trembles. You know, curses, one more bodhisattva. So it's great fun. So we are there. That's where we are in our text. And as I was looking at our chapter, and by the way, welcome. If people, there are, you know what we need? We need more benches. The benches are stacked up on the wall over there, currently being unused. I hate to see people sitting on top of each other in the back of the room, when if we put some more benches along here, we'd have room for everybody. All right? Okay, so what I discovered as I was looking at this text is how amazing that one particular word comes up 11 times, and it means something different than I think what we assume it means. Champion, champion, champion. Go forward, one row. Don't stop there. All right, there we go. So I've diagrammed out what I think this word means and why we should not be satisfied with the old translation only. Right? Now, if that sounds boring, it's not. It's going to be, you're going to see why this works. All right. Last week, there was an answer to a question, and the question was, why do some of the people there in the Jade Grove see the Buddha's psychic powers? The Buddha is about to launch into his teaching, and when he does, lights come out, flowers come out of space, and dragons fly through the air and release songs, and the devas spread incense and lamps, and it's a party. It's a Dharma party, no doubt. And the descriptions are very Avatamsaka-like. So things interpenetrate. So flowers come out of space, and they describe the flowers, they're beautiful, but the flowers release sounds. Voices come out of the flowers, and the voices coming out of the flowers are speaking Dharma. And the Dharma tells you things about your spiritual life that shine light in the corners of your character and light you up. And you, like, I understand myself like never before because of what those voices said as they came out of the flowers. And then lights emerge, and the lights bring forth incredible incense. So the eyes and the nose interpenetrate, and the incense rains down, and as it touches your body, you feel cool and clear, and all of your heated afflictions evaporate. So it's like all of this incredible interpenetration, and it's all arising not from the mind of Walt Disney, not from some fever dream or, too much peyote. It's from the human mind, purified. It's from the Buddha. And the Buddha is a person who lit up his mind and saw his nature through practicing the Dharma and being sincere. So that's what's going on here. And it's like, whoa, oh my goodness. And tonight, we get to find out why these bodhisattvas saw these things, and yet somebody else, and they name them, couldn't see a thing. And just assumed that here was kind of this tall Indian monk meditating. They couldn't see it. They didn't have the connection with the Buddha to see it. So that's where we are. That's the tension going on here. So this is the paragraph that we did last week. And so let's start over again. We'll go quickly over this first paragraph, then finish up. Because what I want to show you tonight surprised me as it kind of popped into my awareness as I was preparing. Okay, those of you who can read the Chinese characters, please do. Those of you who would like to try just kind of the flavor of these words, you can read the Romanized, the ABCs underneath. It's kind of fun to hear the Buddha's wisdom coming out of your own mouth. So I'll put my palms together, invite you to do the same, and I'll give you a line and you give it back to me. Ready? Here we go. 其有见死，佛身立者，皆是毗卢遮那如来，欲往昔时，善根摄受。Okay, now we start a series of maybe. It's in this case, or it was this case, or that case, or that case. Ready? 或系增以四摄所摄，或是见闻，意念清净，执所成熟，或是往昔。教气灵发，阿耨多罗，三藐三菩提心，或是往昔，于诸佛所，同种善根。Right. We'll stop there for now. Okay, ready? Let's do it together and watch the spaces, watch the punctuation, listen to your neighbor, hear the silence in between the clauses of the syntax. Here we go. Ready? Those who were able to perceive the Buddha's spiritual powers could do so because of Vairochana, thus come one's past use of good roots to gather them in, and his use of the four dharmas of attraction to gather them in, or the maturing of their seeing, hearing, recalling, and drawing near, or his teaching them to resolve their hearts on attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, or in lives past, their planting of good roots wherever Buddhas appear. That's it. Stop there. Okay, this is what we said last week. Why could they see these things? It was because of this and this and this and this and this and this. Here are the reasons. Take a look at what it was. They could see the Buddha's magical interpenetration and astonishing light show, etc., because the Buddha, Vairochana, and that's another name for Shakyamuni Buddha's Dharma body. That's what they say. So say it's Shakyamuni Buddha, because he used good roots in the past to gather them in. Okay, translate that, please. What does it mean to use good roots in the past to gather somebody in? 如果坐不下，楼上也有，或者呢，随便哈。Okay, grab a seat. I'm so glad to see everybody here. Wow, the whole gang, the band is back together. This is great. Like the Blues Brothers, we're getting the band back together. Good. So, what does it mean to say past use of good roots gathering? Let's pick one. Good roots means wholesome qualities. How do we follow the Dharma? It's because something touches our hearts. We are moved by something, and usually it's goodness. Kindness would be a perfect example. So, the Buddha used the good root, meaning the wholesome quality of kindness, to pull you back, to make you come again. Second time, to see if you could feel more of that kindness. Or another one, generosity. Just, he gave you something that you didn't realize you valued. And it was so ordinary and close. It wasn't exotic or weird, but it was like suddenly you saw it differently than ever before. What would it be like? Marty told a story about his uncle on the farm in Wisconsin. I guess it was his great uncle. He was a legendary guy for his kindness. People told stories about legendary, meaning they told stories about him because he was kind-hearted. He was just the kindest guy. And the kind of thing that he did was he lived during the Depression, and the Great Depression was very hard to get through because there wasn't any money. People didn't have money. The bank didn't have money. And if you don't have any money, you can't pay your bills. And what if you owe a mortgage to the bank and the bank says, oh, sorry, we're going to foreclose. Take your house. Happened to a lot of folks. So they found themselves on the road. And because this great uncle was such a kind-hearted guy, he was very generous. So somehow they always managed to get by. They always had enough. It's just things came through, and people who knew his habits could maybe stitch together that this was cause and effect. Really, truly, what goes around comes around. But if you didn't know him long enough, you just think, wow, this guy's kind of lucky, I guess. He always seems to have enough and a little more. So, this one story, because so many people lost their means of survival, lost their livelihood, so there were a lot of people on the roads, just moving down the road, no home. They were homeless. And so one of the workers on the farm told the boss, he said, told the great uncle, Marty's great uncle, he said, we're losing some corn down on the South 40. We went out to harvest and we noticed that there's, a lot missing. And we suspect that there are some thieves down there. You guys can also put those bowing benches, squeeze. If you want to stay apart for COVID, that's okay, but stick the bowing benches and have a seat. Don't squeeze in the back. Pretty soon we won't have any seats. Okay, so the worker says, somebody's stealing your corn. And so the uncle, great uncle, everybody's like watching what's he going to do. And nobody was quite ready for what he actually did. He went out, he figured out when the corn was missing, and he went out at night and put down a tarp and sat out in the field in the moonlight overnight. And he heard somebody creeping through the corn, and here was a neighbor, poor man, who had lost his home. And the great uncle, first thing the neighbor heard was the great uncle saying, "Howdy, neighbor." He caught him red-handed, bundles of corn under his arm. He said, "You know, you don't have to steal it." He said, "If you and your kids and your wife come to my front door," he said, "we always have room for more at the table," he said. Then he turned around and walked away. And he left the neighbor standing there with his arms full of corn. And, of course, it was a test for the neighbor. Could he swallow his pride and his embarrassment at being caught stealing? And sure enough, the next day, the family showed up at the front door. The kids had had their faces washed, and they put on their best clothes. And the two families merged. And he became, the neighbor, the former thief, became the best worker on the farm, all because of the unexpected kindness of the uncle. And he could have busted him. He could have called the police and had him arrested. But he didn't. Instead, kindness took him across. Marty says that story is told in the family and honored in the family. So there is an example of a past use of good roots to gather somebody in, right? So the Buddha uses kindness and generosity. When it happens to you, you don't forget it, and you come around. So that connection with the Buddha is what allows these bodhisattvas, who are now waiting for the lecture to begin, which brought them there, put them in their seats. So, furthermore, 4 dharmas of attraction: kind words, generosity, collaboration, working together, and then service. Or, look at this: their seeing, hearing, recalling, and drawing near gets 成熟了, gets ripe. This is not their first time hearing the Dharma. In fact, the first time you hear it, it goes, "Ding." That's true, isn't it? But then the second and third and fourth time you hear it, you go, "Oh, if that's true, that means I think I see a pattern." And it connects in your heart. Marty, again, and I noticed something on the pilgrimage that we took, the 3 Steps, 1 Bow, which was people who were used to words could hear the Dharma in a way that folks who were much more action-oriented couldn't quite. And the people who we met who could hear words, journalists. Remember Kevin, what was his name? He was the religion editor of the Los Angeles Times, came out. We were in Monterey, actually, and he introduced himself, and he said, "I've been following you guys, watching, waiting for a chance. We saw you way back in Malibu, but we wanted, and I've been on vacation up here in Carmel, and here you are, so I thought I'd do my interview here." And he said, he asked the standard questions, what are you doing it for? How do you go to the bathroom? How do you eat? Do you take money? Basic kind of logistical questions. And then he put his notebook away, and he kind of shuffled a little bit, and he said, and what are you doing it for, after all? You could tell he was asking for himself. And Marty described, well, we're doing it for others. And what do you mean by that? He said, actually, it takes a lot of blessings to leave home, to get to be in a place where you honestly can live without an income, where you're not expecting in 10 years to be wealthy, where you give everything away and you depend entirely on people's generosity. Everything we have comes from people's kindness. that takes a lot of blessings to be able to relax into that and not let the anxiety of starvation or loneliness get the best of you. And so Kevin said, the journalist said, well, what do you do when, I'm sure you guys don't get greeted with kindness everywhere you go. What do you do when people are bad to you? And Marty said, oh, well, he said, we just figure that whatever we get back is a result of what we put out. When our minds are focused on kindness and harmony, that's what we meet. When our minds are afflicted and we're afraid, then we meet trouble and afflictions. Everything is made from the mind alone. That Dharma phrase, that Sutra quote, everything is made from the mind alone, it hit the journalist. He pulled out his notebook and said, say that again. Everything is made from the mind. He said, that's really deep, he said. And you could tell how people who are used to words, when they see, hear, or recall something that comes directly from the heart's own wisdom, they hear it. And this guy was a writer. He lives in a world of words. And yet that everything is made from the mind alone. That comes from the Avatamsaka Sutra. He hit it, says, say that again. Right? And we saw that was really a pattern, that any time, and of course this is Marty who was talking, I was silent, but any time that he gave an actual sutra quote, people who were able to hear it would ding, it would echo deep, deep, deep inside. Okay, then, so people who are in that state get to see the Buddha's psychic powers. Furthermore, one reason was this key was taught them to resolve their hearts on attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Code language, code, beep, 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 code language, Buddhist code. Decode that, please. That's the Bodhi resolve. Putishin, which it took me years and years to recognize that that was key. That was a key. Really important teaching for the Mahayana, for the Bodhisattva path. More important than some of the other ones. When if you take a Buddhist class in college or, 6th grade, where you get world religions, what do they teach you? 4 Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, then you get, 12 links maybe, and you hear about arhats and nirvana, and you learn some words. Rarely do they get to the Bodhi resolve. In the Tibetan tradition, they call it bodhicitta, which is Sanskrit, the Bodhi thought. What does it mean? Translate, please. It means at some point, you challenge yourself to come up with your highest potential, and you're never satisfied with anything less. You say, what am I capable of? What could I be? How good, how wise, how compassionate, how generous, how honest could I possibly be? And then you aim for that as your goal. That's the first half. That's half of the Bodhi resolve. The other half is you say, and I'm going to get there by fill in the blank. And the fill in the blank is usually, the classical tradition is Hua Zhong Sheng, teach living beings. More code, needing translation. Teaching living beings, the way Master Hua explained it, is look at the mind and say, okay, I watch my own thoughts and I'm like really self-centered. I spend most of my time worried about myself and pretty much no time worried about anybody else. I'm entirely focused on my own happiness, my own well-being. If something gets in my way, I'm really upset. I scold waiters. I'm never satisfied with service that I get. I'm always finding faults. If you can see yourself and you go, oh, and because of that selfishness at the core, I spend a lot of time unhappy. That can't be right. What do I do? Where do I start unpacking those habits? That is called Hua Chung Sheng right there. And the Buddha Dharma goes boom, right in the middle. That's exactly why we cultivate, is to get into afflictions. That word fanna is like a knot, right? Tied in a knot like that in the mind. And Buddha Dharma unties the knot so that the mind is quiet. The mind is calm. That situations arise and you go, it doesn't have to be one way. And most of the time, if I notice, people around me are all concerned about themselves. Of course we had conflict. I'm selfishly seeking satisfaction of my desires. They're selfishly seeking satisfaction of their desires. How could there be harmony? With that thought, you go, oh, maybe by helping them overcome their fears, anxieties, depressions, disappointments, my own knots will get untied, right? So there you go. That's the Hua Zhong Sheng part. So Shang Cheng Fo Dao Xia Hua Zhong Sheng, there it is. That's the mind ground right there. So that's the Bodhi resolve. And from the point of view of Master Hua, that's Buddhism. That is cultivation right there. And he gave us, Shifu gave us those 6 guidelines as the places to start. That's where we start, is working on aggression in my nature, greed in my nature, discontent, never satisfied, selfishness in my nature, self-benefit, meaning always wanting to win, no matter what, and then dishonesty. Work on those, and those are at the bottom. Those are like the bedrock afflictions. Work on those, and he told us how. He said, be in harmony. Find harmony. Don't contend. Right? Yield. You go first. You win. I'll give you first place. I don't need first place. Step back. That's number 1. No fighting. Generosity. Here, please take some of mine. No greed. I'm not only content, I have enough. I am grateful for what I have. Share the blessing. Hallelujah. No seeking, right? Self is just a way of looking at the world, and a false way. I want to act selflessly. Furthermore, I want to benefit others with my actions, and I always want to tell the truth. Boy, living that way, all those knots, all that trouble, somehow it just vanishes like snow in the summer, gone, melted. And so that's the Buddha Dharma right there, as taught by our teacher. When all those afflictions are untied and smoothed out, you're a Buddha. Buddhas arise from the mind right there. So, furthermore, in lives past, planting of good roots wherever Buddhas arrived, using omniscience and clever, skillful means to teach and transform them and bring them to maturity. So, teaching others. Now that your troubles are over, you teach others. Okay, that is what allows us sitting right there in the Buddhist Dharma Assembly to see what's going on. I thought, that's a lot of my voice. Oof. People get tired of hearing them going on and on. We always start this too late to finish it, so I thought we'd start this a little sooner. This is one of the Theravada tradition's most commonly chanted parita. And a lot of times, depending on where you meet them, the Theravada monks, the Thai forest monks, will put their palms together and Jaya Mangala, this is the highest blessing. They'll chant this in Pali. We have a good English translation, and I'll give the Chinese readers a head start so you can read it. I know Kevin is translating today in Gold Coast. Kevin, you can show the Chinese team this original first. So right here we go. 如是我问，一是佛在舍卫国，即托愿去读经舍，读经舍，时一深夜，有一天神树上光明，遍照园中，来至佛所，恭敬礼拜，站立一边，亦即白佛言：众天神与人渴望得利益。四律求幸福，情是最吉祥。Okay, that's the Dharma request. The Deva comes, and here's the Buddha's answers. Notice it's 3 lines followed by 是谓最吉祥. These are the highest blessings. This is the greatest good luck. Here is good luck. You get real good blessings if you do these things, right? And here they are. I'll slowly scroll. You have to read them quickly. Da-dum, dum, dum, da-dum, dum, dum, ba-dum, dum, dum, da-da-da-da-dum. Okay? For the Chinese readers, I know if you go zipping through the English, they don't get a chance. So, there we go. Okay. 是谓最吉祥. These are the highest blessings. And blessings means good stuff. Your life works out. Things go well for you. And it's not an accident, and it's not like in Taipei, there's a Shantian Xingtiangong, and people go there looking for luck. It's supposed to be really lucky. Lingyan Si in Hangzhou is another one of the places. If you go to Lingyan Si and use your 3 sticks of incense, you only get 3 sticks anymore. They give them to you, 3 sticks only. You can get really good luck there. So Xingtiangong in Taipei is one of those places. And the Buddhists go, okay, if you really believe it, I guess it works for you. But luck is not an accident. It's not somebody's lucky, oh, you didn't strike it lucky like at Las Vegas. No, blessings come from what we do. Here we go. Thus have I heard that the Blessed One was staying at Sravasti, residing at the Chetas Grove in Anathapindika's park. Then in the dark of the night, a radiant Deva illuminated all the Jeta Grove. She bowed down low before the Blessed One. Then standing to one side, she said, Devas are concerned for happiness and ever long for peace. The same is true for humankind. What then are the highest blessings? Now, because these lines are of different lengths, I have to gobble up some of the syllables, so you have to be nimble with your tongue to get the lines of different length into the musical phrase. Here we go. First one. Avoiding those of foolish ways, associating with the wise, honoring those worthy of honor. Here we go. These are the same every time. These are the highest blessings. One more time. These are the highest blessings. Living in places of suitable kinds with the fruits of past good deeds and guided by the rightful way. Here we go. These are highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. Okay. Accomplished in learning and craftsman skills, with discipline, highly trained in speech that is true and pleasant to hear. Got to squeeze those syllables in. Here we go. These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. Providing for mothers and fathers' support, cherishing and cherishing family, ways of work that harm no being. Yeah, you got the hang of it. Here we go. These are the highest blessings. One more. These are the highest blessings. Notice that one's about filiality, right? Okay, down at the bottom here. Ready? Generosity and a righteous life, offering help to relatives and kin, acting in ways that leave no blame. These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. This one's hard to fit in. Here we go. Steadfast in restraint, shunning evil ways, avoiding intoxicants that dull the mind. One more. And heedfulness in all things that arrive. That line's longer. These are the highest blessings. Highest blessing. Respectfulness and of humble ways, contentment and gratitude, hearing the Dharma frequently taught, like every Saturday night. These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. Patient and willing to accept one's faults, seeing venerated seekers of the truth, sharing often the words of Dhamma. Here we go. These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. Okay, this is the top of the cultivation part. Ready? Ardent, committed to the holy life, seeing for oneself the noble truths and the realization of nirvana, nibbana. These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. Although involved in worldly task, unshaken, the mind remains beyond all sorrow, spotless and secure. These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessing. Okay, that was number 11 and the last one. Here's the summary, the conclusion. They who live by following this path know victory wherever they go, and every place for them is saved. Last chance. These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessing. The one that stands out for me is this one right here. We had a question at Buddha Root Farm. In fact, it was asked 3 times. How do we cultivate in the world? How do you make Buddhist wisdom relevant to our daily lives? Right there. We're involved in worldly tasks, but our mind doesn't move. That's the highest blessing. In other words, samadhi. 定力, 如如不动, 了了常明. Isn't that good? That's a sutra. There's another. But if you want to know what is the difference between the Mahayana and the Theravada periods in the Buddhist teaching, not to say better, worse, to say the Buddha taught early and then he taught later for different audiences. The Mangala Sutta is concerned about what? Happiness and peace. Isn't that good? Happiness and peace. And many, many, many people go, oh, Buddhism? Oh, the Buddha, he was the peace guy. Yeah, the peace guy, we like him. Kind of fat, and smiling, the peace guy. He's good. I meditate because I feel peaceful. What's wrong with that? Nothing is wrong with that. That's really, really fine. Other people go, yeah, I still need to teach my own living beings. I need to get into the mind ground and take care of my bad habits, because peace doesn't last very long when my own living beings are frustrated and angry and greedy and never happy, right? So, different teachings for different times and different people. So we need this. We need the Sutra of the highest blessings. And we also need the Avatamsaka Sutra to teach us how to make a better world. Moving forward, this is what I wanted to share with everybody today. Right here. That was why these beings could okay. Right here, starting right here. We're going to read, I'm going to do it. I'm going to read down here just to save time, starting right there. 是故皆得入于如来不可思议深深三昧尽法界虚空界大神通力，或入法身，或入色身，或入往昔所成就恒，或入圆满诸波罗蜜，或入庄严清净恒论，或入菩萨诸地，或入成正觉力，或入佛所住三昧，或无差别大身变，或入如来力无畏智，或入佛无碍边财海。Okay, that was why these beings could realize all of thus come one's inconceivable, most profound samadhis. Realize their spiritual powers that fill the Dharma realm and the realm of space. Or realize their Dharma bodies. Or realize their form bodies. Or realize the practices they accomplished in the past. Or realize the perfected paramitas. Or realize their wheel of adorned and purified practices. Or realize the stages of their bodhisattvahood. Or realize the power of their accomplishing right awakening, or realize the samadhi in which the Buddhas abide with non-discriminating spiritual powers, or realize the thus come one's wisdom powers and fearlessnesses, or realize the Buddha's ocean of unhindered eloquence. Okay, lots of realizes. Did you notice that verb? Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, we got 11 realizes. Now, if I were to ask those of you who spend time with the Chinese trying to render it in English, what do you suppose that word realize was? If you remember the Chinese, you know the answer. I'm not going to show you. Oh, peek. Oh, no. It's the word ru, which it means, we always, 9 out of 10 times, enter. Ru man, what do we say? 还没有进入, hasn't gone in yet, right? But this is an excellent translation. And if we only stick with ru, meaning to enter, we miss the subtlety here. Take a look. Not that one. Ru does mean this one right there. That's it. Looks like a ren, a man, but it's not. It's different orientation. Means to enter, but it also means to realize, meaning to make real. To make it not theoretical, not abstract, to make it real. To merge with, to integrate with, to become one with. And that's what it means in the title of our chapter, Ru Fa Jie Pin, entering the Dharma realm. Entering the Dharma realm, meaning there's a door to the Dharma realm, yeah, that too, but much more inclusive of Buddhist principle when you say you lose your former definition, your formerly hard boundaries change, and you newly incorporate with, you become one with whatever you're merging with. So outside, before you start to cultivate, this is it. This is all the further you go, just that much. Your body, your skin, that's it. That's you. That's as far as you go. After you can enter samadhi and the self is no longer the hard center of that unit, you integrate and you reach. To reach Tong Ti Da. They same body, great compassion. Unified body, great compassion. One body, great compassion. Why? Because you lost your boundaries. But it doesn't mean whatever. It's not death. Because why? You have samadhi at work, which is the new center. So if you take water from Lake Michigan and you pour it into the St. Lawrence Seaway, I know I'm on the wrong side of the country, right? If you take water from Lake Tahoe and drop it into Lake what's up in Tilden? What's the lake in Tilden? Enza. Thank you, Locke. They recently cleared it for swimming. I saw an advertisement. They said, come swim in Lake Anza. It's clean now. There was a couple of years ago, you did not want to swim in Lake Anza, sewage. But now it's clean, and it's available for swimming in Berkeley. So if you dump Lake Tahoe into Lake Anza, the water loses the boundaries, right? Merges. Same. When you, through samadhi, through this ability to decentralize the self, you merge, you ru, you become one with. Do people get this sense of what ru can mean that's so different? When you enter, you are still one unit. You're outside the door, you take 2 steps, and now you're inside the room, but you haven't changed. I don't think that's the Avatamsaka meaning of this word ru, fa jie. What you do is you integrate with, you become one with the Dharma realm because you have softened your hard boundaries through hua zhongsheng, teaching living beings. Does that make sense? I don't know. So to have the translator make this Realize, I thought, yes, you make real all these things. And what do you have? You have a realization. You realize it. Oh. So realize has two meanings. One is you make it real. Suddenly it's there. It wasn't there before. Two is you realize it. It was there right in front of you, hiding in plain sight all the time, and now you go, oh, yes, I suddenly see it. Escher, people know the Dutch artist, the ink and pens, M.C. Escher. He was really popular back in the 60s and 70s. And he has stairways that are impossible merge into each other, and you suddenly realize that you're looking at it totally differently now, and the dimensions pop out. Like the first time you saw the duck rabbit, on this side is a duck, you flip it over and it's a rabbit with the ears. That same kind of, oh, I just shifted my vision, and now I see it all differently. That's Ru. More than simply going into, right? I don't know, when I saw that, it was like, oh, realize. What that means is we really have to retranslate the title of this chapter, Ru Fa Jie Ping. Chapter on what? Realizing the Dharma realm. And of course, Dharma realm itself could be translated. That's the name of our association, Fa Jie Fo Jiao Zong Hui, the Dharma realm. The universe doesn't cut it. We tried universe for Fa Jie. Universe, people think we know what the universe means. We don't know what the Dharma realm means. Not that it can't be known, but it's waiting for a better definition. If somebody says, what is the Dharma realm? One thing I say is, it's the place where principles lead. Our world, it's the place where profit leads. Now, the marketplace leads. Everything is for sale, and money is the most important thing of all. We will take a beautiful, pristine, natural home for all sorts of creatures and extract oil from below the ground and destroy it, poison and kill all of the life there that can't speak because it has no voice. But one corporation gets there first and owns the oil, pumps it out and sells it. So what do you say about that? You say, profit's most important here. This is a world where money rules, the marketplace. Yet, when the oil is spilled in the Gulf of Mexico, British Petroleum, is that really British Petroleum's oil? Who says? So, anyway, you get the point. In a world where principle, where cause and effect, where kindness, where generosity, where virtue, where harmlessness and well-being for all dominate, that's the Dharma realm. That's how we know it. Where is that place? The answer is in my purified mind, in your mind ground. Clean the mind ground up and there's the Dharma realm. That's the only door to the Dharma realm. And you got it. It's right inside waiting for us to get serious about it and figure out what our priorities are. Okay, enough preaching. Here we go. This is why those beings could realize, thus come one's inconceivable samadhis, their spiritual powers that fill the Dharma realm and the realm of space. That's why. So, we need these three words. That is why these beings could. There we go. That was why those beings could realize their Dharma bodies or their form bodies. They could have the transformation once the self is gone. They could realize all the practices they accomplished in the past. Like what? Well, Amitabha's Pure Land is a result of practices. Your ability to meet the 42 hands and eyes, often Sherpa would say that's because you met them in the past. The opportunity to meet the Avatamsaka Sutra comes from Vairochana, as we said last week. They realize the paramitas, these special bodhisattvas' teachings. Realize the wheel of adorned and purified practices. That sounds esoteric. Stages of bodhisattvahood, the 10 stages, we know what those are. The power of accomplishing right awakening, the samadhi where Buddhas abide with non-discriminating spiritual powers, the Buddha's wisdom powers and fearlessnesses, and eloquence. Okay, let's pay attention here. This is graduate level Buddha Dharma. If people are thinking, there's so much here, why is it so complicated? If you read on, if you keep reading, you discover that there are patterns that repeat. This is one of them. When they talk about the Buddha, and the Buddha, mind you, is the end of the search. The Buddha is the success. That's graduation. And before you get to graduation, there's a lot more to talk about, where we are down in the trenches. But when we do talk about the Buddha and the goal, the success in the search for awakening, these come up all the time. Powers, fearlessnesses, and eloquence. Why? These are the tools the Buddha uses to teach. In Chinese, it was Ru Lai Li, Wei Wu Ai Bian Cai, Wei Zhi, okay, Wu Ai Bian Cai. These are special abilities the Buddha has that he uses to teach. The wisdom powers, 10 things that the Buddha uses to know exactly what to say and when to wake us up. Fearlessnesses, they have to do with looking at emptiness and not retreating. Emptiness is scary. It's really cold. There's no sympathy for you or me and our issues. It's empty, and the universe doesn't care. Empty space is cold. So to be able to look at that and say, yeah, that's right, and it's very fair. Nobody, no rich person gets there quicker, wakes up quicker. It's impartial. So that's fearlessness. Furthermore, eloquence. 4 kinds, the ocean of unhindered eloquence. This is how the Buddha teaches. Mostly, why do we wake up? Somebody convinced us. We heard the Buddha talk or a teacher, and we went, that's really true. I can't argue with that. That's right. That's so true. So eloquence is the way. That's what I listen to particular podcasts. And when it comes around to politics, they say the number one issue in politics, persuasion. Persuasion. The way you say it makes people change their mind. That's what counts the most. And how does that happen? Trust. You trust somebody. What they said has been true pretty much every time, so I trust them. That's the foundation of persuasion. That's the most important thing. When somebody talks, I believe it. Okay. Eloquence, powers, fearlessness, and eloquence. Those are 3 tools the Buddha uses. I got an invitation from the Buddha Dharma Quarterly magazine to write an article on the Buddha's 10 powers. Rulai, Shili, also the Pusa, Shili, Bodhisattva's powers. And I did, and it's out there on their website. You have to go dig for it. The Buddha Dharma Quarterly is got a lot of informative articles. So if you go out and look for Reverend Heng Shi on Buddha Dharma Quarterly online, you'll find my article. Meanwhile, we need to chant the names of the Buddhas, the 7 Tathagatas. Okay, there it is. We do it, one of these times we'll do it in English, but for the time being, we're doing it in Chinese. And when I feed the turkeys, I chant 7 Tathagata's names. And I wish I could say that it makes a huge difference. I think the turkeys like that somebody sings to them while they eat. Probably that's it. We like that restaurant. It's kind of like, oh, sole mio. They write with the waiters, singing waiters, you know. He's got good bird seed, too. It's pretty good bird seed. So I toss the bird seed around and I go, Namo Do Bao Ru Lai, Namo Bao Shen Ru Lai, Namo Mao Sa Shen Ru Lai, Namo Guangbo Shen Ru Lai, Namo Li Bu Ru Lai, Namo Gan Lu Wang Ru Lai, Namo Amito Ru Lai. And when once you start chanting them, it's really funny how some of them kind of pop up, and you remember the good things that come with them. And the one I like particular is Namo Gan Lu Wang Ru Lai. Gan Lu Wang is the king of ambrosia, or sweet dew, literally. And they say, if you chant the name of Gan Lu Wang Ru Lai, animals who hear this name, will leave the realm of animals. Ghosts who hear this name will leave the realm of ghosts. And then it says, and furthermore, your children will do well in their examinations. I'm like, animals, ghosts, and tests for children to advance in school. That's interesting. And of course, all the parents, their ears perk right up. My kid will get better grades if I chant Namo Gan Lu Wang Ru Lai. Or maybe they won't behave like hungry ghosts anymore, or animals. That sounds good to me. I'll do it, by golly. And so we go Namo Gan Lu Wang Ru Lai, right? So these all have past vows in these names. And what we're doing here as we chant their names, these are the 7 Qi Ru Lai, they're called. Qi Ru Lai Sheng Hao. We're invoking devotion. This is bhakti yoga. It's Chengzan Rulai, Samantabhadra's second vow, Pushem Pusa, Chengzan Rulai, praise of thus come ones. Furthermore, we're making use of this not unique, but frequently practiced Buddhist practice called sacred names. We're chanting sacred names. And it is also a practice in Hinduism, Hare Krishna, right? Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's another practice, bhakti, devotion. So this is that form of Buddhism that chants sacred names as devotion. So that's what we're doing here. Is it zazen? Is it chan? No, it's not. Is it mantras? No, it's not. Is it sutras? Nope. Is it, what else have we got? Vinaya? No. What is it? It's chanting. It's devotion. So we chant the names. The thing is, inside these names is all the practices of the Buddha for so long in the past that when we sing the name, we get all that energy, all that goodness coded into the name, the vows of the Buddhas. So that's why we do it. Ready? Second time through, here we go. Namo Do Bao Ru Lai, Namo Bao Shen Ru Lai, Namo Miao Si Shen Ru Lai, Namo Guangbo Shen Ru Lai, Namo Li Bu Ru Lai, Namo Gan Lu Wang Ru Lai, Namo Amito Ru Lai. And of course, we know this one right away. Mito Ru Lai Hu Amitabha. Notice there's a pattern. Namo in every case, all 7 times, and Ru Lai, Tathagata. So to learn these, all you have to do is Do Bao, Bao Sheng, Miao Si Shen, Guang Bo Shen, Li Bu Wei, Gan Lu Wang, Amito. So 3 words or 2 words for each case. I don't have to look at the book when I'm chanting for the turkeys, and they appreciate it. that I'm so sincere. So if you can memorize these, and when you're with your pets, when you're with your kids, when you're with a store owner, a shop owner, if you're married to a shop owner or a store owner, if you are in retail, recite Namo Bao Sheng Ru Lai, and things work out in business, right? So if we're worried about our appearance, recite Miao Si Shen, marvelously formed body, and we naturally bring on the qualities of the Buddha's vows. In times of fear, Li Bu Wei, freedom from fear. Animals live in fear with reason. Mostly they're eaten, right? So if we recite this for them, they spontaneously lose their fear, etc., etc. So wonderful practice reciting the 7 Tathagata's names. Ready? Last time. Here we go. Namo Do Bao Ru Lai, Namo Bao Sheng Ru Lai, Namo Miao Si Shen Ru Lai, Namo Guangbo Shen Ru Lai, Namo Li Bu Wei Ru Lai, Namo Gan Ru Wang Ru Lai, Namo Amito Ru Lai. Very happy to do that. All right, so this would be the time when I would say, Jinwei Shi, are you there? And Jinwei Shi would say, yes, Dharma Master, I am. Why didn't you tell me you were going to be calling on me? Said Dharma Master Jinwei. So I just like to surprise you, to give you a test, see if you're ready. So I will do the same. Jinwei Shi, are you there?
I am here. My name is Jinwei, and I will now tell you what's going to happen here at Berkeley. And every day at 4 a.m. we start the day with chanting our mantras and praises from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. and as well as evening ceremony from 6:30 p.m. every day. If you wish, you can join us. And Dharmasa, can you go up? And yeah. This is an important one with our annual interfaith blood drive. Every year we come together with our friends from Jewish community, from Christians and Muslims and Vedanta Society. And what we do, we donate blood. And it's quite an important gift because the one donation can save up to 3 lives. And in America, every 2 seconds, the blood is needed. So it's very simple, it's very safe. If you want to explore more, you can just visit our website, as Rabbi Heng is showing us, and you can get all the answers, and also we have links to Red Cross, is everything what you needed if you wish to donate blood. So it's August 10th, Thursday, and we have, I guess, still like 9 slots or 8 slots you can choose if you wish. So definitely highly encourage everyone. If someone's don't know how to do it, please contact us or can send in email to contact form. I can sign up for someone and you can just go, take your ID, and you can donate your blood on Thursday.
Where we do this is just down on University. It's at the synagogue,
right,
below Sacramento.
Nativot Shalom congregation. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we have our meditation in person, Thursday, Friday, morning, 6:15 and 7:30, and we're still on the break, so...
We are. There we go.
Pretty soon, at the beginning of the September, we start other classes. if you wish to go, we still have Thursday night, what is Insight Meditation Community of Berkeley. And James Barras is co-teaching with Eve Decker. They do once a month an in person here, and other times they meet via Zoom. And next month we'll visit Abhayagiri monks. You can find also information about that. This is first Tuesday each month. Although we don't have this coming Tuesday, it's cancelled.
They're not coming this Tuesday?
It's not coming on this Tuesday.
Okay, cancelled for. Okay.
Mm-hmm. They are beginning of the rain season, Vasa period, and they're just very busy to establish the retreat place at the Abhayagiri. But in September they should come. So it's September 5th, if you wish to join. Tea and Dhamma and reflections and transmission of precepts. This is usually what they do.
Okay. So now Jinwei Shi will translate the proceeding into Polish, and we will all sign up for the blood drive.
Jeśli chcecie ofiarować krew, jest to możliwość w synagodze Nativ Shalom.
Alrighty, there we go. So the blood drive is a really wholesome activity, and recently the American Red Cross has relaxed their standards. I got refused last time because, what was it? I forget do you remember what it was?
You visit some country, and I guess it was...
That's right. I had been in... UK.
No, UK is okay.
And yet the year before I was fine. But in the meantime, I just happened to mention that in the last 9 months I had been to where?
Some more. I think Malaysia should be okay, but I think the
Singapore,
Indonesia or some country was banned.
And that made my blood suspect. It wasn't clean. And then the year before that, you were refused because mad cow disease had been in Europe. And so that was enough reason for them to fear that your blood.
Yeah.
But apparently mad cow has been quiet long enough that they're not suspecting it.
Yeah, they're saying if someone lives in Europe between 1980 and 1990, and they relax all these restrictions, but I think still for those who lived in UK, that probably you cannot donate. But please check.
Yeah, and they're trying to be cautious. They don't want to take blood in and then give somebody sickness because of it. But it seemed kind of funny to. They're so hard up for blood, and then they refuse you on a technicality. So.
And this is another encouragement. If you really want to be free from any mad cow disease, just keep your vegetarian diet.
Yeah. So at least if they refuse you because of mad cow disease, they should give you a slip that says, "Please don't eat beef." Dedicating merit now is the time. Dedicate to our national leaders. Mitch McConnell, poor fellow. Dianne Feinstein, dear heart. He who shall not be named. And Joe Biden, bless his heart. Let's keep our country strong. Here we go. May every living being our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May may kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. We'll finish with bowing to the Buddhas right from your seat there. Those of you watching at home, you can bow from wherever you are. Here we go. Half bow. Second bow. Third bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Okay, that's going to do it for us for tonight. We'll see you all next week, same time, same place. Amitofo.